This plush tutorial was requested by Marquise Smith, Blue Blast Productions Yes, MLF Gaming, Holly Armstrong, Bowser Jr. and Larry Productions, Joel Matthews, and Super Mario Fan 1234. If you want to request a tutorial, leave a comment down below, and remember to like, subscribe with notifications, and to check out all my other videos. Now, onto the tutorial. Hey guys, Blop here, and today I'm going to show you how to make a Koopa Troopa plush. Alright then, the difficulty for this tutorial is about 3 out of 5 power stars. Now, onto the materials. The materials you will need are the Koopa Troopa plush pattern, any color of fabric you want, yellow fabric, white fabric, cream fabric, and black fabric, matching thread, pins and needles, glue gun, and scissors. First, cut out the Koopa Troopa plush pattern. Now, you will have all of these pieces. First, start by sewing up all the darts. Sew up the darts on the back eye pieces like this. Sew up the darts on the head pieces like this. Sew up the darts on the cheek pieces like this. Fold the beak over itself and sew along the curved edge. Then sew up this edge of the shell. Make sure whenever you sew these darts, you mirror them for the other piece. These will be all of the pieces you have now. Now, take your 2 shell pieces and place them on top of each other, making sure that the stitches align. Now you're going to stitch along the edge where these stitches align, not this edge. Now align your 2 head pieces together along the edge of the dart, then sew it up along that edge, not the other 3 edges. For the cheeks, just line them up like this and sew them along this small straight edge. Now take your 2 beak pieces and align them like this. Then you're going to stitch the curved edge and the bottom straight edge, not the edge where the darts are lined up. Set your back eye pieces to the side. Now you will have all of these pieces. Now, take your cheek and head pieces and align them along their long curved edges, then sew it up. Mirror this for the other side. These will be the sewn up pieces. Now, take your eye and brow pieces and align them like this, then stitch them along the curved edge. This is how it'll look. Now, go to the side with the stitches and you're going to place the back eye pieces onto them, making sure to align the straight edge with the edge of the yellow, not including the straight edge of the yellow brow. Then you will sew the back eye piece on all the way around until you get to the center of the brow piece. Once you're there, you will sew on the other back eye piece. Now you will have those sewn together. You will also have sewn up the back of the back eye pieces together. Now, stuff the eye piece into the head, aligning the white and yellow straight edges at the sides to the sides of the cheeks. Then you will sew those on each side. Now that you've done that, flip the eyes out and you'll see that it'll look like this. Now you can stuff the eyes back into the head and sew up the back edge of the eyes. Now that you've done that, you can pop the eyes out of the head. It will look like this. Now, take your beak piece, making sure that the stitches aren't visible from the outside. Then make sure that the point of the beak is facing the bottom of the sewn up cheek pieces. Then, stuff the beak into the middle of the face hole you left. Once it's in there, you can stitch it on all the way around, making sure the bottom stitch of the beak lines up with the bottom stitch of the cheeks. Sew and stuff the head, and it will look like this. Now, take your 2 body pieces and align them on top of each other. Then, you're going to make sure that the bigger side of the body is facing the front. Then, you will stitch up this front edge, not the top or the back. This will be the finished result. Now, you're going to stitch up only this corner, nowhere else. After you have done that, stack your 2 rim pieces on top of each other, then stitch them along the outside curved edge, not the inner circle or the 2 straight edges. Now that you have sewn up the outer edge, you're going to connect the 2 straight edges together, making sure to line them up and stitch them up. When sewing on the rim, Make sure that it's flipped where you can't see the stitches. Then align it against the body piece like this. Now, you're going to take your needle and push it through both pieces of the rim piece and then out of the body. Then you will repeat this all the way around the shell and body until it's done. For the tail, simply stack the two pieces on top of each other and sew their long edges together. This will be the result. Now, you're going to sew it on in between the rim and body, but I've already sewn my rim on, so you should do it as you sew on the rim. Now that you have stitched those pieces together, flip it back to where the stitches are visible on the outside. Make sure that whenever you're doing this, that the rim of the shell is on the inside of the body. Now, take the shell piece, making sure that it looks like this and that the long edge is at the bottom. Then, stuff it into the body, making sure that it goes over the rim. Now, stitch the shell onto the body and rim pieces, making sure that the stitches align. This will be the sewn up body. To make the arms, take one of the full pieces and one of the trimmed pieces and lay them on top of each other. Then stitch all the way along the outer edge and not that top straight edge. Do the same for both arms. Then, for the legs, you will simply fold them over themselves and stitch them along the small straight edge. For the shoes, place two pieces on top of each other and stitch the front and back edges, not the top or the bottom. These will be the pieces you have. To make the arm, make sure that the thicker part of the hand is sticking towards the center of the body. Then stuff it into the armhole. Once it's stuffed inside, you can go ahead and stitch it on all the way around, making sure to leave the hole in the arm open. Do this for both arms. For the shoe piece, take the sole piece and place it on the bottom of the shoe, then stitch it on all the way around. Do this for both shoes. Once your shoe looks like this, take your leg piece, making sure that the stitches are on the inside of it. Then, you're going to place it into the shoe like this and stitch it on all the way around. Make sure that when doing this for both legs, you mirror the direction of the leg for one and the other. Now this will be your sewn up leg. To sew the leg into the body, make sure that you position it like this, while you can't see the stitches from the outside. Then, you are going to... What the fuck am I doing in this footage? What the hell? I don't know. But you're gonna make sure that it faces like this, and then stuff it into the body. Then once it's in, you will stitch it into the hole. Mirror this for the other leg. Once you've sewn and stuffed everything, it will look like this. Now, do a running stitch along the bottom of the Koopa's head. To learn how to do a running stitch, check out my FNAF Freddy and Bonnie plush tutorial. Once you've done the running stitch, you're going to place it on top of the Koopa's body, then you will ladder stitch it on all the way around. This will be how it looks. Now cut out two black ovals for the pupils. The pupils may look like this. For the shoe cuffs, cut out two thin strips of color and glue them around the ankles of the Koopa. This will be the result. To make the neck, cut out a thin strip of cream felt and wrap it around the neck of the Koopa. Make sure that it goes all the way around. Once you like how it looks, you can glue it on. This is how the neck of the Koopa will look. To make the beak of the Koopa look more proper, you're going to take a threaded needle and you're going to do one stitch at the bottom of the beak. Now that you've done that stitch, you're going to take your needle and press it up to the top of the beak in between the eye and the beak. Then you will pull your needle out and pull tightly. Then go back down to the bottom of the beak, right where you began your stitch. Now, you will pull your needle back out through the bottom. Repeat this for both sides of the beak, going through it multiple times so that your beak is properly shaped. To make the shell and nostrils of the Koopa, you can embroider them in, or if you don't want to, you can use Sharpie to draw them in. To make the nostrils, first start off with one stitch at the peak of the nostril. The nostril will be in a V shape, which is why you will start here. Then you will do stitches heading towards the center of the beak, but you will never reach the center. Make sure that once you finish the stitch of the first edge of your nostril, that it ends in a point. Then, once you're done with that, you will go back over it with straight edges going from the peak of the nostril all the way to the point. If the nostril ever looks messy, you can always go over it with a Sharpie. Once you're done with that side of the nostril, you will begin to do the other side. It will be similar, except it will just be a little bit shorter. Once you're done with that nostril, you will mirror it for the other side. Then, once you're done, you will tie off your knot at the bottom where you did the stitches for the beak. These will be the nostrils. If you aren't happy with how they look, you can always go over them with Sharpie. To make the shell, what you're going to do is you're going to take your thread and stitch through multiple parts of the shell in this pattern. You will start off with these small stitches here, going in a V shape. Then go into a straight line, and then that's where you can branch off to one side or the other. To make sure that the distance between parts is equal, you will measure one stitch you've already done with your fingers and carry it over to the other, and then finish your stitch. Then, once you have your needle placed, you're going to bring it down to the rim of the shell, setting it up for the V shape. Make sure not to pull too tightly as not to deform the shell. Then, once you have that stitch, you're going to stitch right at the top of where you want the V to be, and go back to the rim to set up the other side of it. Then, you're going to stitch it in and bring it up to the top. Then you will do one last stitch at the top of the V, coming back out from the stitch you just started. Once you finish that stitch, you will repeat it for the rest of the shell. This will be the finished shell. To make the lines on the body, first start off with the stitch on the rim of the shell. Then you're going to go into the arm, under it, and then back out of it. Once you have finished that stitch, you're going to go into and out of the other arm, and then finish your stitch at the rim of the shell. Now, to lead into the next part, you're going to go into the rim, and then back out of the rim, making sure that the distance isn't too far apart but not too close together. Now, instead of going through the arms, you're going to go right under them, all the way around to the next side of the shell. Make sure to measure the distance between the first two stitches so then you can have the same measurements for the next side to know how far apart the stitches need to be. Then, to go on to the next side, copy that distance over and take your needle out. Then you will do the same thing, measure the distance, and then go back through. Your next stitch should come out from behind the leg. Then you will do a similar thing that you did with the arms for the legs. You're going to go through and out one of the legs, and then go into and out of the other leg, and then finish off at the rim of the shell. That will be the body. Now, I'll show you how to do the fingers. First, take your needle and go through this point of the hand. Then, once you went through that point, you're going to loop around it again, and then come out at a different part about here. Making sure that whenever you pull, that your thread is going over the hand. Then you will pull tightly. Then you will repeat this for the other fingers. Then you can tie off the knot, and your plush will be finished. If you made this plush or are planning to, leave a comment down below. Also, don't forget to like, subscribe with notifications, and tell me what character I should make next. Actually, on the note of that, I have a poll in the description of this video for you to vote between certain characters. So, please vote for those since I don't know what to make next. Well, after the next tutorial at least. So yeah, please vote there, and thank you all for watching and following this tutorial. I'll see you next time.